Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. The Urban League of Detroit and Southeastern Michigan is celebrating 100 years of helping African Americans and other people of color live better lives. As an affiliate of the National Urban League, the organization serves more than 70,000 people each year through its programs and services. The league focuses on a variety of community needs, including education and youth empowerment, economic self-sufficiency, health and quality of life, civic engagement and leadership, and civil rights and racial justice. Joining me now is the president and CEO of the Urban League, and Charles Anderson. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you, Stephen. It's great to be here.
That is quite a milestone. 100 years.
100 years. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know, I think back and read the history of the Urban League. There was a lot going on 100 years ago as African Americans were transitioning from the South and moving to the North, and an organization like the Urban League to providing social work or social services was very much needed as people came to this community.
Yeah, and that's really the focus of the Urban League, is that social service component.
Right.
I think a lot of people sometimes get the Urban League and the NAACP sort of confused. What's the difference between the two? That social services component really is the answer.
Yeah, well, you know, interestingly, I was a national staff member. I worked for the NAACP. I used to be on the national staff of the NAACP before joining the Urban League. And they are two very different organizations. They're very complementary organizations in a sense that they work well together, but the Urban League is a direct service organization, and the NAACP is primarily an advocacy organization. So they get out and beat the bushes and strive to get companies to change their ways, but the Urban League has that staff and those direct services that try to react to the needs of the community.
Yeah. How have those needs changed over a century of time? You point out that blacks were coming to Detroit 100 years ago from the South and had really desperate needs that weren't being met by government and other organizations. It's a little different now, right?
Well, you know, in one sense, the way you approach the issues of the problem would be a little different. But, you know, way back in the early years, the workforce that we call workforce development today, it may have been called vocational services and employment services, but still there were efforts to provide employment services and getting people into work. Or in the 20s, the Urban League had a baby clinic working with mothers and their children, their little children. And today we have the Women, Infants, and Children program, the WIC program. So in many respects, the Urban League had the Pen and Palette Club way back in the day, working with young people on academic excellence and getting them ready for careers. And today we still do education, youth development. We operate the College Club. So the general gist of those programs are pretty much the same: youth development, education, employment services, health and welfare. Those are the common names and the common things that we still currently do.
And the need for those services, especially here in Detroit, is only getting
well, unfortunately,
larger,
it's not getting as better and much better as we would like for it to be. I think as the population grows, more and more people are coming in there. Some are prepared, but we still have many challenges when it comes to youth education and development. You're trying to help young people go or break into the skilled trades, for example, and they're still not reading at the 8th grade level and doing math at the 8th grade level, even though they are far removed from high school. So you still have these challenges of getting individuals ready for the workforce and getting them acclimated to moving upward and forward.
A big part of your annual celebration, of course, is this Distinguished Warriors. I always want to figure out what does it take to get a Distinguished Warrior Award?
You know, Steve, you got to live a little longer.
Older, right?
You are distinguished, but you have to live a little longer. In our way of deciding Distinguished Warriors, we look at people who are 65 years of age and over.
This is about a lifetime of achievement.
Who have given immeasurably in the areas of human and civil rights, and then we recognize those individuals at what we call a Distinguished Warriors Award honor. Now, I mean, a posthumous honoree, we do usually have at least one posthumous. That person may not have been 65 at the time of death, but we still would honor that person for the contributions that they made. So you know, this year we honored Roy Levy Williams, and Roy was an urban leaguer. He was a president of the Urban League at one point, and a community organizer at the Urban League before he left to be the head of the Urban Affairs Office for Governor Milligan, and ultimately at the Urban League, and then at the Chrysler Corporation. George P. Barnes, who the first African American that owned an optician.
Guest on this show just a few weeks ago.
An outstanding contribution, unsung in many ways, and so we're glad to honor him. Dan Crickbaum, who passed last year, Chief of Staff to Governor Granholm, but worked in this community for many years in many ways. Then there was Captain Mildred Leonard, who was first female African-American to run the WACs in the United States Army, but some people know her as Big Sean's grandmother.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And of course, the John Conyers, the 52-year congressman, the dean of the Congress. We honored Congressman Conyers as one of our honorees this year as well.
Yeah. When you look sort of for two questions about Urban League, funding, that's a challenge for all nonprofits right now, trying to, especially those delivering social services, but also direction. What are the things that you feel like Urban League may need to pivot toward or do? That
well, we would love to see, how we work to get more people involved and connected to the Urban League, but we want to make sure that we're working to deal with the issues that people in our community are having. We want to take a holistic approach to those services. So when young people come through, we want to deal with all of the issues that they have in the preparation, making sure that you're working with them on their academic preparation as well as college preparation. We want to do more work in the area of health around substance abuse and AIDS education and information, because that's a big issue, particularly among the older women in the African American community. The incidences of growth of AIDS, that's something that we need to deal with. But we want to kind of focus on that, but also work harder at making sure young people in particular are prepared for the jobs of the future. I was sharing with someone the other day that there used to be a menial job that's sitting in the at the booth at the parking lot, helping people pay and leave the parking lot. Well, that's self-service now. Those kind of jobs don't exist, and we need to be working more diligently in our society and our communities to make sure we are making people aware and getting them acclimated and prepared for the different kinds of careers going forward.
Yeah, and support for the Urban League. How are you able to maintain that?
Well, we refine our skills at begging, in terms. But we work hard. The dinner is a way to generate money. We work hard at trying to make ourselves better known to the community and how important their membership dollars are to us. If we could get 1,000 people to join the Urban League at $50 per person, that would make a significant impact on our budget and our ability to fund some of our youth development activities that we currently have. So helping educate and inform the community about what we do and hoping that they will maybe some of their moving dollars one month will go toward paying for the Urban League, and collectively that would make a tremendous difference in how we fundraise and what we're able to do.
Yeah, in the open I mentioned there that 70,000 people a year, but on a daily basis you are meeting an incredible amount of needs.
Well, sometimes when people say what the Urban League isn't doing anything, I always point out there are about 14,000 people a month who think differently, because who need the services. If they've come to one of our 7 or 8 WIC clinics, we have WIC office hours that are late at 7 o'clock Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 Saturdays a month. We're trying to make sure the services are available so that the working poor doesn't have to take off work to take advantage of our services. Our College Club meets on Sundays. We have 55-year-old plus senior citizens that we pay to do 20 hours a week in a nonprofit organization as they develop their work skills, and that's a $1.5 million a year payroll just for that group of individuals. The WIC benefits that we put into the economy in Detroit is worth about $10 million annually. So, we're making a tremendous difference in the lives of a lot of people. The problem is sometimes that what we do is not so sexy, so it's not always in the media, grabbing headlines and things like that nature.
All right. Well, congratulations on
Thank you.
100 years.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Appreciate that.